Hi, I'm Mandeep Singh, founder of mandeeps.com, and in this multi-part video series, we're working with a live visualizer module. So let's get started. What we've done so far is we've created a recipe structure. We've added a bunch of recipes as well. And then in previous videos, we've created a visualizer called all recipes, and we basically did that by just using a auto-generate template. And what we have right now is we're seeing our recipes being displayed outside in a list fashion. And the auto generator has several different options: table view, list view, and card view. Well, in this video, what we're going to do is we're going to see how we can customize the templates for our own custom look and feel and presentation. All right, so let's get started. What we're going to do is actually look at the templates first that were auto generated to understand how they work, and then we'll go ahead and customize it. So there are three templates out of the box. One is called master, which is responsible for rendering your master page, or the first page which is shown in the visualizer. Then we have what is called detail, and then what we have is called pagination. So let's go back and take a look at these in detail. What you see here is called the master template. When you click on any of these individual recipes or items, now what you're seeing is called a detail template. Let's go back. And this right here is called your pagination template to generate your pagination links. Now there is an option here in the content filtering. If you go to settings, we can change the pagination size. Let's call it 5. I'm gonna go ahead and update that and come back here. So now you see that there's a second page. So this right here, this functionality right here is generated using the pagination template. All right, so now we know what each template does and what it's responsible for. Okay, so let's go ahead back to the editor and let's go to the master template, and we're looking at the list view auto generated. So let's go ahead and take a look what it does. So one of the cool features that's built in is a full screen mode. When you're working with templates, you want to get the visibility as you can. So if you just click inside and hit F11, it's going to go into full screen mode, which is awesome. Now we can look at our entire template and then go ahead and make edits from there. Okay, so what we're looking at is the auto-generated template for list view. Now if you look here, it starts with a div and it has a row basically and some call MD12. Now if you're familiar with Bootstrap, you'll understand how these classes are working. Keep in mind though, Bootstrap is not loaded for this auto-generated setup. We've created our own style sheet, which is a very small subset of Bootstrap Grid to give this functionality. Also, as you see, it's appended with our own classes called live visualizer, so there's no conflict with Bootstrap if you are using that in your theme. So we'll again go ahead and cover that in just a quick second. Actually, let's do that now. I'm going to go ahead and hit escape, and what that does brings me out of my full screen mode. Let's look at style sheets. You will notice that the auto generated has automatically linked a live visualizer default style sheet, and that style sheet is the one that has these classes defined. All right, let's go back in. So let's understand this. Now this template is totally customizable. You can do whatever you want. So this right here, if you look right here, is an if statement. Now this is a Razor template, so you have full access to Razor structure and syntax. This is basically saying if the end user has the ability to add recipes, let's show them a add recipe button. Now we're covered this in detail in another video, so I'm going to go ahead and skip that. We don't need that. So then we're basically doing a for each on recipes. So how did we get this? Let's talk about this for a second. So let me go ahead in the top, and I can do a control space, and what that does is brings me an IntelliSense or a list of options that are available to me. These wrench icons are basically telling me these are properties. For example, I can find out if somebody has the permission to add recipe, delete recipe, or update recipe. As you see, we're checking here. Or these are methods or functions. For example, I can execute the ability to add a recipe, delete a recipe on a button click, as you can see right here. And then these right here is telling me that these are actually classes, or these have more properties in them. What we're really important is now headers is basically telling you if you're doing a table view, it's great to have headers, so it's tell you what each label you want to have for each column header. Sort class and sort link is also pretty cool because they allow you to do sorting in a tabular fashion, and we'll take a look at that in the auto-generated table view. Let's go ahead and do that actually. Let's go back here, cancel this out, and let's look at the auto-generated table view. Then let's look at what it did, and I'm going to go back into F11 here. So if you see right here, we have a table class, and this is where we're using the sort links, because if somebody click on this link, then we'll sort the entire column by that data field. So that's where the sort links are used for. Now if you didn't want it sorting, you just wanted simple headers, you would be using the headers option instead of sorting option. Alright, so let's jump back to something more simple. Let's go back to list view and back to where we're looking at. Okay, so like I said, the most important thing here is probably the model.recipes, because that is where I mean model.recipes.submissions, because that's where our actual recipes are. So what we're doing here is simple for each on it, and showing all the recipes. So let's start with a simple template instead of something so complex. Let's do a simple UL and then do a LI. Now we want to do an LI for each recipe, so all I'm going to do is just copy and paste this, or I could have done add for each. Now you can create your own. I'll just call it row. You could have called it R. Let's just call it R for recipe, or let's just call it recipe. There you go. And model.recipes submission. And remember, I have this option through control space, and then it comes right up here, for example, right there. And then if it is shift space, it will show me all the options within a recipe. For example, here's the cuisine and all that stuff. So that's that. And let's do a for each. And then for each, all I want to do is basically create an LI. And in the LI, I'm just going to see. Right now, in this, we're doing a lot of stuff. We're showing an image first, and then we got the recipe name, and so forth. For right now, let's just show the recipe name. So I'm just going to simply say add recipe. That's coming from right here. To make it simple, I can call it R, which will speed things up, and then I can do shift space to bring all this in, and I'm just going to call it, give me the recipe name, and close the LI. So that's my first initial template. I don't need anything else. I'm just going to get rid of that. Let's close the LI there. All right, escape out of it, hit update again. Let's go out and take a look how our template looks. Okay, so there you go. Super simple. We've created a template, a simple UL LI, and there's our recipes. Now our pagination template we didn't change, so we get that out of the box. Let's go ahead and take a look at that really quick as well. And there's our pagination template that's auto-generated. You really don't have a need to change this, but if you ever want to style it and do different, you can use your own classes for styling and so forth. But this is out of the box, does all the magic work for you. If you ever need to change it to do something custom, you can certainly do it, and it's pretty self-explanatory. It only executes if there's more than one count, and it checks if there's a previous page, then we show a previous page. Otherwise, for each page link, we generate a class, and then if there's a next page, we generate a next page. All right, so we've already covered how to create custom templates. What if you needed your custom style sheets? Well, you can always get rid of the default one here, and then add as many as you want. Just simply link them. These could be either absolute or relative links, and then you can also write inline style sheet right here if you need to. And same goes for scripts. If you need some JavaScripts, you can link them and include them on the page, or you can write some there as well. All right, so let's go back here and let's look at the master template that we've created, which is right here. Super simple. Let's go ahead and do something more complex, something more custom rather than a simple concept here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch our site, the page that this visualizer on, and I'm going to actually go ahead and apply our portal theme instead of a default DNN theme. I'm going to go ahead and apply our portal theme, and what I'm going to try to do is use some of the shortcodes that are available to us in Portal. So So this way I don't have to really do any styling work, and I'm just looking for a node title container here. Let's save that. Okay, so let's refresh the page, and we should have the Portal theme applied, and there it is, and just close out of the edit mode. Alright, so let's go in to manage again, and we're going to edit the template, and let's go ahead and change this to something more custom. What I'm going to do is switch over to portal.mandeeps.com, which is our demo site for Portal, and I'm going to head over to shortcodes. Let's see if we can find a shortcode that will save us some time to give us a new design. How about this one right here? It's masonry. It's like Pinterest. It kind of puts all the images in possible view layout. I'm just gonna go here and grab just the first item here, and then we'll close the div. So I'm gonna copy it, then basically come down here and let's just paste it here. So there's our main div, and then we have this div for each item basically. So I'm gonna close the main div, and then before I actually have a live item repeat, let's do a for each right there, and open and close the brackets. So now we're gonna get that for pretty much all of our recipes. So let's go ahead and see how we can go ahead and customize this. Now this right here is the link. When somebody clicks on that, which is this image, if somebody clicks on it, where does it go? So that's the link. Let's go ahead and fix that. What I'm going to do is just call this row. Then I'm just going to say add row and then bring in. And I basically did shift space, which brings in all the options. And what I need is the permanent link. Then right here I have the image. Now this is something interesting. I have an option called add image path. Now this is a special keyword that you can use. What it does, it will bring the first image that it finds in any field. So if you have multiple asset fields or pictures fields, it's going to find the first image it can in any of the fields. If it doesn't find any images, it's going to give you a default image. So this is great for that purposes. But let's say if you want to be 100% sure of what you're pulling, then what you would do is you would go to your submissions and then look for it. In our case, there is a field called pictures. Because it's an array, it could be more than one. What you need to do is you need to do a cast on it. I want to take the first one, second one, so forth, and then you have to do there's two options, I believe, relative path and absolute path. So you'll have to type that in to get your exact path. All right, and we'll see that in detail, so we'll cover that in a few seconds. Here we want the name of the recipe, so that's easy. Let's do row, and then we want to bring in recipe name. And here I want to do, let's say here I want to do the cuisine. Let's do row, and let's bring the cuisine in. Now keep in mind that cuisine is actually a checkbox list, so there could be more than one. So again, I am gonna do an index. I want the first one, and because it's a checkbox list, there could be a text and a value field. So I want a text field here. So we'll grab that. Okay, all right, let's get rid of this. I don't need that. So I think this should be it. Now, I have already copied pasted just in case this doesn't work, but let's go ahead and give this a shot. I hit update, and let's see how it looks in the back. Okay, so that looks pretty good, right? It works great. Oh, we do see there's a scroll bar kind of thing coming on here, and that is coming from the fact that initially we did this as an autocomplete, and I still have the autocomplete style sheet coming in. So let's get rid of that. Let's hit update again, because again we're not using any of the autocomplete code now, and now that looks better. There is no scroll bar. It's not shaking like crazy it was. When I hover over it, I see my recipe name, I see the cuisine. I am able to click on any recipe and I see my details, which doesn't look very amazing at this point. So let's go fix that next. All right, let's go back to Portal and let's find something. Let's go to post. Let's find a single page view that looks interesting. Well, this one looks nice. We have an image and we have some information, so let's go ahead and grab that shortcode right there. And let's go back here down to our detail template. All right, so let's go F11. Let's go to the top. There it is. Okay, so there's our image. Now we can do that image path like I was doing, but let's look at the other method, which is I could say so bring submissions, and then there are pictures. Now I could take the first one and say relative path, so that would work. Let's go ahead and give that a try. All right, so here is some. If you go here, that was the 5 o'clock in New York. Let's change that into some metadata for our recipes. For example, we did have the prep time, the servings, and calories per servings. I'm just gonna copy paste here to make my life easier. So I'm just chaining those 2 LIs with these 3 LIs. All I'm doing is including a static label and then my data there. Here's our recipe name, so we can quickly go ahead and do that. Let's bring in the recipe name, and then here's some description. And what I'm going to do is actually again copy and paste here, and just so what I added is a H5 ingredients, and then I am showing my ingredients. And I also did steps to the recipe and showing that. Notice I'm using @raw, which is a special field, and that's required because our recipe ingredients and steps were actually an HTML editor that allowed us to add any HTML content to it. So for that HTML to go in exact, we have to do @raw. That's it, I believe. So let's go ahead and get rid of everything in the bottom and escape out and hit update. Well, let's do one more thing really quick. Go back to the detail, and what I want to do is I want to add a simple back button. Here we're using some classes, the Bootstrap related classes, to make it look better and align it to the right. And basically we're just saying history.back and somebody clicks on it. So let's go ahead and give this a shot. Okay, so there's our recipes, nice and pretty, and there's orange chicken. Let's click on it. Now I see this nice orange chicken with zoom in, zoom out effects. I do see that it takes about 30 minutes to make. We're making for 4 people, about 435 calories. There's some ingredients, and this was just a ULI list that in my HTML editor. I mean, you can definitely style it to look pretty. You can certainly go to Porto list and get a more prettier list like this blue 1 2 3 or this 1 2 3 like that, and so forth, and just use that instead of simple ULI that I used. And then there's some steps, and then what I added at the last is the back button. When you click on it, it's going to bring you back here. So pretty powerful. You have absolute full control over the front end templates and the detail templates. There is a separate video that covers the content library in which you're adding content and managing its SEO. But if you see right here, this recipe has its own unique URL and its own unique title that is coming from the SEO properties, and that is, let's say, Parmesan. I didn't spell that right, did I? Okay, chicken. Let's make that easier. So there's it is, and it's right here, SEO properties. That's where the title's coming from. That's where your URL is coming from, and you have your own description as well that you can add. We really don't need HTML tokens there, so let's get rid of those. And that's what that is. That's it for this video. As I said, Live Visualizer is extremely powerful in terms of templating, and you can create anything and everything you like. And this template right here is already mobile responsive. So if I go ahead and go to a mobile view and do a refresh, it's gonna automatically adjust, as you can see. So pretty cool stuff. That's it for this video. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to open a support ticket and we'll be happy to assist you. Thank you so much for watching this video.